Hey everybody, this is Rhonda Trout from Earned Not Filtered. If it's perfect, it's not mine. Today, I'd like to talk about, and I encourage my viewers who are Gen X to add their 2 cents in the post. I'd like to talk about what exactly being a Gen X member is. I am a proud member of the Gen X generation, and I would like to give my experience of growing up in the Gen X community, if you will. So I lived in Bad Tolz, Germany in the 70s. And I find it interesting that all our generation have gone through the same thing. I thought we were a separate community, but we weren't. So anyway, is it true that we drank from a water hose? Of course we did. They didn't have water bottles back then. At least I'm not sure we did. Of course, we had faucets outside. Not really hoses so much until later in different military communities. But yeah, there was a water faucet outside, and that's what you drank from. And it wasn't too bad. We survived. Here I am 59 years later. Soda cans did not come in the big plastic bottles or the little plastic bottles. It came in a can with a pull tab. Now, these pull tabs, you've seen pictures of them. If not, look, ask your parents. And stupidly, I guess, unconsciously, we put it inside the soda can instead of tossing it in the garbage can. And we drank from the soda can, and we had no problems of it ever getting into our throat and getting caught like a fish. That happened to somebody later. Pfft, amateur. We did not play inside. We did not have electronic games. We did not have TV games until much later when not Avatar, oh my God. It'll come to me later. Anyway, we played outside. Now, in Bad Tolz, Germany, we had an uphill and we had a downhill. And at the apex of uphill and downhill was this huge playground. And downhill had to cross a highway to get to it. And we had swings, we had the monkey bars, and we had a slide with a hump in it. And I was scared to death to go down that slide when I was a kid. It was brand new. And so one of the boys that I knew said, okay, I'll go down with you. And I sat between his knees. And, we went down together. And I'm thinking to myself, what was I scared of? So then all of us kids, we all went to the same school. We all knew each other's name and who their parents were. And we played a game called bumper cars. So the first person would slide down and then stop at the hump. And then the next person would try really hard to knock that person off. And of course, as kids, we didn't weigh that much, so it took at least 5 kids to knock the first person off. And back then, I don't believe our slides were made out of aluminum, so we didn't burn our ass on the way down. At least I don't think we did. And our slide was at least, in a child's mind, 6 feet off the ground. And it was scary to climb up. And then there was 2 support bars. Everything was metal, trust me, with lead paint, that we could climb up as well. And then, of course, we had the monkey bars. And we had a different set of monkey bars than what we had later. Ours was kind of squares on top of each other, and it was fun to climb up. And if you wanted to hang upside down of them, you had to go to the tippy top, and then you had to go inside because, dare I say, it was empty inside the middle. I can't remember now. It was 59 years ago. Well, not 59, but you know what I'm saying. And we had, the sandbox, of course. And it could fit. The sandbox came with a wooden frame, if you will. And So a lot of us kids could sit in the sandbox together and get dirty. Sand goes anywhere. I don't care what you wear or what you didn't wear. It went. And we used to bury each other in the sandbox. Do you guys remember? One person would lay in the sand, and then we would put a sweater or something to cover their face, and we'd bury them up to their neck and pat them down. And then the trick was to see if they could get out. Sometimes, we had to pull them out of the sand. It was the best thing. Yes, I still have that nagging cough. And now I'm in so much pain, it's unreal. So let's move on. Atari came out 1970, I'm going to say 77, 78. And back then, it was a novelty. This was after we finally got American television. Don't even get me started on that. That was exciting. But of course, we had to have the adults put in, and we had Donkey Kong, Frogger, I can't remember the other games we played because those were the two games we played. It was either Frogger or Donkey Kong. No, what was that one where you had to cross the rivers, and they had the alligator in it and the turtles, and you had to make sure you had to time it right because the turtles would sink and then so would you. What is the name of it? You guys can remind me. So let me tell you about American television. In Bad Tolz, Germany, we did not have American television. We watched German television. So finally, when we were 8, they applied the networking or the wiring, if you will, to watch American television. And of course, it took an adult to, we had those dials to get the pictures in correctly. And it was wonderful. Donnie and Marie. Saturday cartoons was only a half hour, so that sucked ass. Let me see, there was Popeye. I can't remember. Oh my God, this will come to me when I'm not thinking about it. But anybody of our generation, you know what cartoons we watched. Let's move on because I forget where I was going with that one. Let's see. You did not play in anybody's house. You played outside where the parents could call you when it was time to come in, like lunch and stuff. That's a funny story. Sometimes we played uphill where our school was, and we played in the playgrounds up there. I think there was one playground on one side and maybe a playground on the other, or was that a game spot? The memory just goes. Anyway, and then if we did play in the playground downhill, my Oma, which is German for great-grandmother, actually she was our great-great-grandmother, but we used to call her Oma Kiel, because she was from high north Germany in Kiel, to separate her from Oma, which is our regular grandmother. Anyway, I don't know why she started, but she would clang on the pot with a wooden spoon to call us in for lunch. So Mom and Dad got smart, and that depends on what you call smart, started blowing a whistle to call us. Do you know how embarrassing that is? Because everybody in the neighborhood knew what that whistle was for. You better get home, they're blowing the whistle. And I would go, yeah, I know. And this couple came in, knocked on Dad's door. Everybody was military. And wanted to say something about that and said, you're embarrassing your children, blah, blah, blah. Of course, Dad kicked him out. And that was the end of that. So, of course, we got tans because we played outside all day. And I know I'm forgetting something. There's so many. Computers came in. a apple, I believe it was. Ugly as shit. Black background, green lettering, and of course we didn't have the internet yet. We also had walkie-talkie style cell phones. Do you remember those guys? Big, you want to talk to it, you pulled out the antenna. And I don't know if that was based on the military phones that was available back with in the military. 1944s. You know, getting old sucks. It really does. If we wanted to find a book, we had this huge cabinet with drawers, and inside each drawer was an index card with the Dewey Decimal System. And if we wanted to find a certain book, we had to let our fingers do the walking. Telephones. We had the dial phones. Some were lucky later to have the push button. But if you watch, it's hilarious, videos on YouTube where parents will give their grandchildren, or was it parents? Anyway, and they would try and get these kids to figure out how to use the phone. Oh my God, that was just hysterical. And, you know, the technology of today has really started because of what we went through with technology. It just seems like every 10 years, every 5 years, something new would come out. Anywho, TikTok Gen Xers will say, we don't care. Yeah, we don't care, but there's certain things that are more important about caring than some of the garbage you see on YouTube. So anyway, I know I missed a lot about Gen X because, you know, I wasn't prepared and decided to do this through my head. You know, that doesn't work really well when you have brain damage, but I digress. So anyway, this is Rhonda Trout signing off from Earned Not Filtered. If you liked my story or my video, please hit subscribe and hit the like button. I would like to hear all the things that I missed that's part of Gen X. And if you younger people are watching, we call you whippersnappers. You're right. So thank you for watching.